What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by DoveMen Plus Care, and in 2023, 2022, and 2021 reached out directly and indirectly to over 100,000 fathers around the world. I also am a featured content provider on the Fly Nubian Queen Network, which is dedicated to Black women. I don't know the exact times. I think it's where Black women have a voice, which is run by Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. And that channel has over 570,000 subscribers. And, okay, I might as well say it now. The official launch of Indie Soup Media is on March 25th. I was talking to Dr. Pachi on the weekend. We're collaborating on so many things right now, but it looks like so the Morning Vibe selected episodes will also be featured on that platform, which has a reach of over 1 million people. So the brand is getting bigger. So in the last few months, the reach of my content is expanded by 1.5 million people. So as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Good morning, Ryan Knight, media star.
Yes, in training. But for those that don't know who I am, my name is Ryan Knight, one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. We support entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, really to figure out what stage the business is in and help them create a strategy to grow their companies. And I'm an entrepreneur myself. I do run a company called Detailing Nights. So we provide mobile waterless car cleaning. So we go to people's houses, to their offices, clean their cars on the spot without using water, and our plant-based, eco-friendly cleaning supplies. And we are about to be in recruitment mode. So if you have an adult child, teenager that's having trouble finding a job last year, we are hiring for our youth entrepreneurship program in the summer. But now is time to recruit, to hire for April and May. So please get in contact with me. Go to our website, detailingnights.ca. And at the top, you'll see a bar that says Youth Entrepreneurship Program. Click it and have them register. Looking forward to seeing the new recruits.
All right. Before we go any further, the Monday morning ritual. Here we go. This episode of The Morning Vibe is sponsored by the Macmillan Group, providing mortgage solutions one client at a time since 1999. Buying, refinancing, or investing. Call them in Canada at 905-813-4354. In the U.S., 904-586-5636. And also, what we're going to do here, we'll also give the other contact information because we have to give them full rep, as you like to say. And there it is. Canada, U.S., and number, also toll-free number 866-833-0885. Also website, the Macmillan Group Inc., inc.com, and email address raycmcmillan@gmail.com. All right, man. So what were you doing this weekend?
This weekend was jam-packed, starting with Friday, actually. So Friday, we were at First Fridays, and I feel like we were in a sitcom because we were trying to get Dr. George Fraser to get to Canada in time to be at the media event for First Fridays and the unofficial launch of the ACBN Legacy Symposium. Oh man, we have to actually bring him on the Morning Vibe to tell the story of the delays with Air Canada, United, Jazz, trying to figure out with Expedia, the booking. It just became a total mess. He didn't end up coming into town until 1 a.m. So aside from that, First Fridays did go really well. People enjoyed it. We had speakers like, oh my gosh, Randy and David McTeague from Flow 98.7. And I knew David from when he was with G 98.7, so it was great to see him again. We had Fenella Bruce, PR extraordinaire, giving real tips on how to get it. I was like, not just big media, but get proper media for whatever you're doing. Like if you're an organization or a business. We also had Jamar McNeil from the Marilyn Dennis and Jamar show. So he talked about his journey and he showed his sizzle reel that, man, he's been very well-traveled. He's a avid diver, which I had no idea about. So getting to meet him was awesome. And Kenny Baz from GBKM was there. We were trying to get Roger Dundas to pop in, but weren't able to get him to talk about Buy Blacks. And we had a special celebrity in the house. So I'm not sure if anybody saw Beauty that runs a restaurant called Nija Jollof. She was in the house.
I've heard of it. I've heard of that.
She just broke the world record for the longest marathon cooking. So the record was 10 days, and she went for 18 days straight. And the way the world records work, and her staff was explaining to me, you can only take 5 minutes break, I think, every hour.
Yep.
So over a day, she'd only get like 30 minutes of break. So imagine that for 18 days. And at every point in time, there has to be 2 things cooking. So the times that we dropped in to check on her, to see her at the stove, man, she is a rock star.
Well, you made her stand up.
Well, that's great. I know she should be still resting.
You said you could just sit down and talk. Like,
we should have brought the mic. That's true. But yeah, so that was Friday, and then Saturday, of course, the big lead up to the 2024 ACBN Legacy Symposium, which was our 5th edition, and I think the third time in person at Sheridan College. The other time, the first ever one was at the BBPA, so shout out to them, the Black Business and Professional Association. And then we had an online stint in the middle there. So getting to celebrate our 5th edition, it's interesting because we email and Zoom so much that now when you get to see people in 3D, it really is heartwarming. And the fact that ACBN has been able to help entrepreneurs and they can get to see us and thank us. So shout out to the team. We had a bunch of volunteers in our white ACBN shirts. Yes, so thank you to Sheridan. It was great to see that and the help that they were providing. And then when talking about 3D, we got to see Dr. George Fraser in 3D. And thanks to you, brother, for being able to pick him up in the morning. And tell us, I don't know, how's your experience kind of spending the day with Dr. George Fraser?
Well, first things first, I want to give flowers to you and your whole team putting on a great event.
Hey,
and a special thanks has to go to, as I call her, the First Lady of ACBN, Charmaine Hussey, tireless champion for Black people, tireless. Also, another shout out to Renee DeVoe and her team at Sheridan for hosting the event again. And I had whenever I meet Renee, we have really, really, really great conversations. And that's one of the reasons I love coming to symposium, and in the past I've gone and I think she's had to leave, but she was there for most, if not all day.
Absolutely.
Most of the day, which was fantastic.
And we went late. I think we finished after 6.
So I want to shout out to her team also. Was great event. Okay, so Dr. Fraser. So this is really interesting. So Ryan told me he's coming in Friday evening. Okay, so I'm looking online. I'm seeing, I don't see his flight number, but then I see his flight number with Air Canada Jazz. Okay, what's going on here? And then he's not with us in the green room today helping produce, but I have an intern, young Black gentleman who so we were supposed to meet at a subway station. He got to the subway station an hour ahead of time. I said, hey, just checking in. Is this the right time? I go, yes. So then I think, you know what? Let me see what Ryan called me maybe 15 or 20 minutes before I was supposed to pick up this intern saying, and I could tell by his voice, something was not good in Ryan's.
It was like an hour before he was initially supposed to land.
Yeah.
And then we were going back and forth just because. So the quick story of the initial issue. So he gets to the check-in counter and they're telling him that he's on standby. They're like, no. Like that ticket was purchased.
Yeah.
So what happened was a flight in the morning was canceled. So those, I guess, travelers got bumped to the flight that Dr. Fraser was supposed to be on. And I'm like, but is that how it works? Like, I thought people that have the ticket and people don't show up, then those that were getting, but I guess they have different ways that they do stuff. So yeah, he ended up getting put on standby. So we were kind of holding our breath to see if he would get onto the plane, and it didn't work out. And then I'm calling Dr. Vibe like it didn't. It's not happening. So and then we're like, but we just have to wait and see.
Yeah. So Ryan calls me at 5:43 p.m. I heard the Ryan not happy voice just in the first few syllables. I go,
Yes.
okay. So then I had to call my intern and say, hey, got to go back. I said, okay. He said, no problem. He was on right on the subway line. Cool.
Mm.
So then Ryan texts me. like I wish I could I should have screenshot and put the going back, like the information update. So he texts me at okay. so 8:52. This is what Ryan says. Bump to 11 p.m. Lord have mercy. LOL. Then Saturday morning, 12:51 a.m. He has finally landed and dropped off to hotel.
Yes.
So then Ryan asked me at 1:41 in the morning. I was sleeping, but I was, my mind was ready to get up early that morning.
Yes.
Can you pick him up for 10:30? Said no problem. So pick up, and it worked out well because the intern lived downtown, so it's basically on the way to pick him up, and so it was good. Get to the hotel, waiting. So I go to the front desk. I say I'm supposed to be picking up Dr. George Fraser. The lady calls the room. There's no answer. I'm going, what's going on here? What's going on? So I said, okay, I'll wait another 15, 20 minutes. Okay.
Yes.
Come back 15 minutes, call again. No answer. Said, let me text. So I text him. He said, hey, I'll be down in a minute. He comes down and we have, so we drive out, and family, I always say, if you're content creators or whatever you're doing, document it. So basically, I did an interview with Dr. Fraser while I was driving out to the event.
I love that.
And my the intern had a video camera on him while I was just asking him questions. He just had the video right on him.
Nice. That's
in the car.
Good.
So I did my research ahead of time, and I had set questions. So every time I would take purely, hey, Dr. Fraser, just look at my phone and great question, bang. Some of it he covered during his sharing at the symposium. Some of it he didn't. And we had a really good conversation. Also, too, when you're, just a suggestion, when you're doing that kind of recording, and people who are audio, video, people are content creators, you don't want to use as much as possible the microphone on your camera, because it's okay, but it's not great. Same thing like if you're doing one of these, it's best that you have a different webcam than that's on your computer. And unless you have a high-end computer which has a really good built-in camera. So we use these little lavalier microphones.
Okay, right.
So we just pinned it on his lapel and put the receiver on the camera hot shoot. And even as I was walking in the symposium, we were talking, and my intern is going for the audio. He's going, this is amazing. The sound is great. Fantastic.
Nice.
So Dr. Fraser was great. I wondered why I asked him, Dr. Fraser, you don't have to speak till 3:00. Do you want to get there so early? He goes, yeah. He says, I want to get it down, spend time with the people, etc. I said, fantastic. He was there. And the funny thing is, when he came in, not too many people said hello to him, but after he finished, we couldn't get him out, and he almost made him late for his flight. Well, he wasn't late for us. We got there in time. We had a really good time. We get to his check-in place, and the guy who handled him was fantastic. I wish I would have quit it. It was so funny. We were so great. And then so I walked him to the gate, hugged him, texted him yesterday, did you get in safely? Yes, and I'm gonna stay in touch. He says, make sure you send me the clips and all. I says, absolutely. So
that's great documentation.
That was an amazing moment. And well, I'll talk to you about something offline. It was something, a little extra thing, but I ain't gonna say it. I'll say it. We'll take that offline. But yeah, that was my day was to just make sure his experience was as important as possible. So if some people were saying, Dr. Vibe, you weren't chatting that much, my responsibility was to take care of Dr. Fraser, so ACBN didn't have to worry about what was going on with him.
And I really appreciate that because he seemed comfortable. People got to interact with him, get his book Click, which I'm gonna start reading. And yeah, it was an excellent overall experience. And so I definitely want to thank the team, thank yourself, thank Dr. Fraser for coming in, and thank all the other speakers, which the lineup was jam-packed. So I'm gonna be putting out clips of each of the speakers. And shout out to the entrepreneurs that did their pitch competition, and shout out to the winners. You're gonna find out about the winners, and shout out to the vendors that were there selling their products.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it was good.
To the next
and hopefully some new positive African melanated relations were developed that day.
Yes. And that's the feedback that I'm getting, is where amazing connections were made. People learning things that they can now action, especially
that's the thing. Take action now. Taking the action. And it was actually when I was at the roundtable speed communication thing, not dating, communication. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things, the last table I was at, excuse me, I said, okay, I'm just going to put it out there. I said, the first person who emails me will get an hour of my time at no cost. And there were people right at the table.
See that? You see when the incentive is
put the value out,
they'll do it away.
I have to follow up with that person today, and they will get an hour of my time, but it was good stuff. So let's do this and go quickly to break. Brenda Elizabeth Williams says, congratulations, great job.
And Brenda came down from Ottawa to join
us. Yes. I had a brief meeting with her. Yes. Shirley says, good morning, everyone. Great job.
Shirley is one of our keynote speakers. So thank you, Shirley.
Yes. Opal Inspired. Good morning, everyone. Fitness IQ Cam, KSF UIL FW Arch, Fit Queen. Red W. I said a little bit wrong. She had a good time. Ryan, amazing. Wowers. I don't know what you're saying wowers about. Brenda says, so proud of you all. Glad to see you at the event. Glad to see you too. Stay in touch. I don't want to wait another year to hear from you. She goes, I need to get that one soon. So Fitness IQ Cam, you make comments, and when you make them, by the time I get to them, I don't know what you're talking to. So him wanted lunch too. Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't have oxtail on the menu. That's another conversation.
Okay, yes.
Will the Discord hear it too? You got to tell me what you're talking about, IQ. I have felt this process in so long. Thank you. Well, there you go.
Love that.
And Ryan, all this. Hello, Dr. Vibe and Ryan. Yay, Ryan. He is one of the interns that is doing some work for this content to go on Indie Soup Media.
Excellent. Okay, good stuff.
And LMOA, the oxtail. Yes, the oxtail.
That would have been a nice touch. Oh, okay.
Yes, but no. Well, that budget, I don't know if you can hit yet. But and just a big shout out to Ryan. He actually goes to Toronto Metropolitan University, and through his school, he's going to be taking, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, a 2-week trip as part of his film and video studies to LA.
Okay, excellent.
So we done that. We're going to get to our break, and then we're going to do a good lead in to the new friend that we have on the show today. I'm not even going to promote it. Wait for her to come back, but we're going to take a break, and we're going to hear from some Dr. Joyce and Dr. Boyce, Dr. George, Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia. We're back in 2 minutes.
And that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harriet Tubman of the mind.
I am.
I feel like I'm I'm one of the Harriet Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like, I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. No, really, the rappers get all the attention. Seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room.
Overly sexualized Black folks.
Like the twerkers and the, just people that, don't always represent the best of us, the diversity, like people like Dr. Vibe. Like, everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe. Dr.
Really
Vibe he's trying to do good work for Black people. Dr. Vibe from Toronto. Good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe. Everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. The men who are also doing the same thing. I see Dr. Vibe in here. He's a great brother. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. He's a smart brother in Canada, and we need to follow smart people. So follow Dr. Vibe if you see him in the chat. And Dr. Vibe, say your name in the chat so people can see you. I want you to click on his name, and I want you to go follow him, please, because I want these men and women that are doing the right things to get the support they deserve. Hey, Dr. Vibe, how you doing, brother? Again, like I always do, I gotta say everybody should go follow Dr. Vibe. He's got a great show. Dr. Vibe, I know Dr. Vibe's got a kingdom because I see your channel. I see you pouring into that every day. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. Look him up, Dr. Vibe, Vibe. He's a great friend of me and my wife, and I love this guy.
Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Vibe is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot, and he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. You know, a lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back. Helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Vibe is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Vibe show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway.
You know what I like? Our new friend that's coming on in a few moments. She liked that. I could see her facial expressions when she saw she was, and especially the line where Dr. Boy says a lot of the rappers are losers, and she went, "Ooh!" I saw that, but and I have to respect and Dr. Boyce last night. He did a few lives yesterday, and one of them I jumped in right from the beginning, and he shouted me out, and he gave me a tip in regards to how to better promote what we do. So I'm gonna be fooling around with it today to see if I can make some changes, or I may get one of the interns or someone to help me with it. But love this suggestion, Dr. Boyce. So this is fantastic. Well, I guess before we go any further, we didn't get to it today. Please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and also hit the notification button. Also follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram to advertise your business, product, or service on the show or any of the shows that I host. Dr.Vibe at the Dr. VIBESHOW.com. And also join the Discord group. And so I may put some clips up of the conversation with Dr. Fraser in there. May.
I know they'd appreciate that. Yes.
May. And also, too, don't forget, the real media star is Ryan Knight. So you can get him at his website, RyanO'NeillKnight.com, LinkedIn, Ryan O'Neill Knight, Instagram at Ryan.Knight99, and email work with me if you can catch me. No, work with me at RyanO'NeillKnight.com. So, a few more comments real quick. Yes, the intern Ryan, he's going to be in LA in August. And hey, and I'm getting threats from Fitness IQ or I'll bring them the Mafia Dr. Vibe. There you go, Herner Mafia. So one of the people that was at your event, I only spoke with her for a few seconds, was Suzanne from the Whitby Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
You and I both appeared at their event, like the first Friday last month. We chatted for a bit, and it leads in nicely because the new friend we have today is a person who I sat somewhat beside at the back of the room for a lot of the event. And I'm going, oh, and so we began a conversation. She goes, oh, how do I get on your show? Just ask. Like,
that's the exact same question I asked you when we first met. I was like, oh, so how do I get on the show? And you gave the exact same answer. And I was like, over 10 years. Man, I have to check how long ago that was.
Just ask. Yes. Oh, yes. So Fitness IQ goes, the clips into Discord. Oh, so the threats are already coming. All right. And I said, all right, now. So, and it just made sense because we have this new friend, and I met her at Suzanne's event. And Suzanne, you still owe me something. So she goes, I know. So I'm going to send her another video message today. I'm on her with that. All right. So for context, image, I looked up the definition. Image, one of the definitions, a popular conception as of a person, institution, or nation projected, especially through the mass media. Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Etiquette. Etiquette is the conventional requirements as to social behavior, properties of conduct, or code of uses in matters of ceremony. That's ceremony twice, or professional practice. So people saying, Dr. Vibe, you've never read a definition on this show before. Well, there's a reason, because we have Monica Kennedy Murray of Laura Inspires on our show today, talking about image and etiquette. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Dr. Vibe. Thank you so much. And Ryan, thank you so much for having me. I do appreciate this.
Our pleasure. Yes,
Our
thank you for being here.
pleasure. How
Yes.
how are things with you this morning?
I am very well. The sun is shining. It's warm. Can't ask for anything more.
And Ryan's gonna go out and hire people today. Right? For his detailed
Hey, it's gonna
detailing.
rain the rest of the week, so today is a
Yeah,
good day.
today's the day. So Lorna, as we like to do with all our new friends, can you share a little background about yourself to our family?
Absolutely. I'm a Jamaican born. I myself and my family, we migrated to Canada from Jamaica back in 1993, and we are currently residing in Pickering, which is in the Durham region of Ontario.
Yes.
How did Image and Etiquette find you, or did you find it?
Mhm.
That's a very good question, and thank you. So, let me go way back. I was introduced to etiquette from the age of 13. I was in Jamaica. I was in Girl Guide, and a colleague introduced me to articles that were posted in the Jamaica Gleaner on modern etiquette. And as kids, we would clip these articles and we would practice among ourselves, and we would scrapbook the information. And to the most part, it's how we were to be respectful to our elders. And if you see elders speaking, you'd wait your turn. You never butt in, or if you see a door is closed and you want to enter, you always tap. And I remember with my parents, my mother was always reminding me to be respectful. Whenever she was sending me on an errand, she was saying, remember to say good morning, remember to say good afternoon. So those stayed with me, to be respectful no matter where I am, when you're in school, when you're on the job. So that became a very big part of my life. And before you knew it, these articles were no longer in the papers. But you know what? It was enough time for me to gain access to the world of etiquette. So when I was migrating to Canada, thought to myself one day, what would I be doing in Canada upon arrival? And the thought came to me, oh, now you can get a chance to further your training in etiquette. And I thought, okay. But coming into Canada on March 1st, 1993, everything was new. The culture, the weather, everything was new to me. And as you know, as an immigrant, you don't get your foot in right away. It takes some time because it we had to get settled in. We had two young boys at the time. Today we have three boys, but it took a while. And even though I stayed home with my boys at the time, my husband was working. I kept the idea in my mind. Over time, I would see advertisements on etiquette, but it wasn't the right time. I was working, my husband wasn't home, and it just so many blockages, or I wouldn't say blockages, but delays that were hampering the me getting forward. So it took some time. I eventually went back to school after my boys were in school full time at kindergarten. And I thought, what could I do? I could either go back to school full time or work full time. So I chose to go back to school. And during this time, I became pregnant with my third child.
Oh,
And I continued anyway. I was scoring. People saw me in the hallway. Oh, again, this always happens, but they have no idea what or where I'm coming from or why I'm the way I am. But I
exactly.
continued. You see, it's perseverance. You got to be adaptable, and that's what I took on with me. So going to school, I finished my training, came home, and I was getting jobs, but my jobs were always short lived. I thought it was enough for me to seek employment after a while, and once an assignment was completed, because I would get another one, and I would get another one, and I kind of see a pattern going on. Sometimes I had an accident. So many things. Jobs were relocated. Companies lost their contract, and I couldn't do my job. And even though I was willing and ready to work, but when I realized the pattern, I thought I became frustrated. And one night I was in my bed, and I was just crying out. And I said, Lord, what's going on here? I went to school like everybody else. All of my friends and my relatives, they have their career. What about me? And would you believe it that in that moment, somebody called me on WhatsApp from my church, and she said, I was on my landline with another friend talking, and I said, hold the line a bit. Let me take this call. I took the WhatsApp call, and she said, Sister Lorna, I was in my bed and I saw the picture of a woman. And she said, what's that? Holy Spirit told her, it's Lorna. Lorna is getting frustrated. Call her and remind her and tell her what to do. So I got some encouragement that I really, really needed, because at that time I was off work. And I took the information and I started doing some catering at home among friends. And even before that, let me just back up a bit, because when I arrived back in 93, I didn't have adequate clothing for winter. We bought winter jackets from a gentleman who came from Canada and was setting up a Goodwill store in Jamaica. So we were fortunate enough to find winter jackets for ourselves, and that's all we had. Clothing, we didn't have anything warm. We may have a sweater, but that's no match for winter. And coming in, thank you, Ryan. Somebody gifted me a pair of stirrup pants. She said, you can't be going around wearing these Jamaican clothing. And I thought, okay, I took them, because in my church, we were not allowed to wear pants, because pants was understood to be a men's garment. We weren't allowed to wear our hair or jewelry or makeup, nothing of the sort. So this was very hesitant for me and life changing, but I needed to keep warm. So one day I was going to pick up my son at school, and I wore the stirrup pants. You know, the stirrup pants that go under your foot in your shoe. It's not like today you have enough
Right.
Lycra.
Just to interrupt, I don't wear them, but I know about them. Okay. just want to make sure that disclaimer for everyone who's watching this live or listening to live or on the replay. So continue.
Thank you. So I wore them one day, and who told me to? This young girl saw me and she laughed me to scorn. She pointed me out to all of her friends, and when they looked,
oh man,
they stopped and they said, this is not supposed to be happening. I was so embarrassed, I tell you. And what I said in my mind, I just kept it, and I went home after picking up my son. So later on, I think it was in 2001, because I had no concept of what proper dressing was. You know, I'm coming from Jamaica, and in Jamaica I had no issue. But coming here, the first thing, they laughed at me. And in 2001, I was selling Avon, and I had attained President's Club status. And so I was invited to, thank you, I was invited to an awards banquet. At awards banquet, I wore a two-piece wool dress and jacket in cream. When I entered the room, I kind of blended with everybody else. No one was excited to see me. The room was just mild. The atmosphere, it was just serene. So later on, a colleague walked in, elegantly dressed, her hair, her makeup, everything was intact, and this brightly glittery dress. And all of a sudden, there was a buzz in the room, and everyone was calling her name. Sandra, Sandra, come and sit with me. Sandra, come and take a picture. I was stunned, because I had never, ever witnessed anything of this sort. I kept looking at her, and I was so lucky that she sat right next to me. I couldn't keep my eyes off of her. What and how and why, I really wanted to know. So later on, when coming into etiquette, I was going to my bed one night, because after doing the catering, I didn't want to do catering anymore in my home, because it's a home-based business, and the smell of food, and you're entertaining, and then this strong smell of food or Jamaican stuff. And I went back to the Lord and I said, Lord, is there anything else that I can do? And he said to me, I didn't hear right away, but I was going to my bed on a Friday night, and I heard in my ears, go on Instagram. And I thought, what? Holy Spirit is sending me on Instagram? Anyhow, I obeyed. I went, and to my surprise, there was a woman who was offering adult dining room etiquette the following weekend, even at 50%.
Yes.
What? I quickly registered, he transferred her the money because over the years I've been looking and waiting, but there's a lot of times they were for children, and there was nothing available for me after many years. There was nothing for adults that was being offered. Even when I went to college, there was nothing at the time in that category. So I may have delayed myself, but it was for a reason. I went to the training that morning. My husband took me in Kleinberg, and the lady after the workshop, I said, I really want to be able to train in etiquette, and she said, I think you should. And from that, I started to seek out how and where and how. And then COVID came. COVID came and everything was shut down, which was to a benefit because this time it was available online. Because
Yes,
if
yes,
it were,
yes.
yeah, because if it weren't, you got to be in person. It was some people were charging like 40,000 and up for training, and I'm thinking, oh my lord, you heard my
Oh,
cry. So yeah, and from there I started to transition. While I was training for my etiquette, because I found the school online, there was a lot of reference being made on how important your first impression is, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I need this because here, first I was laughed at, I wasn't dressed properly, and then again I saw someone who was well dressed, and I'm wondering how did she do it? Why didn't no one? Why wasn't anyone happy to see me when I walked in that evening? But I married the two together, image and etiquette, because fortunately, the same college was also offering training in image consulting. I thought, okay, I need this thing, so I'm going to go take it. And today, I'm an image and etiquette consultant. And as Dr. Vibert said, it's very important because it's your public image. And you do the dressing, but then how do we relate to one another? And that's how the etiquette comes in, our interpersonal skills, how we relate to other. Because if that young girl had known better in etiquette, she would never have laughed at me in public. Never.
very true.
So there we
And
go. We know
do you
now.
focus on adults or do you also do children?
Both, both,
Uh,
because we all need the training. And that's what I do. Thank you.
Well, I know Ryan, you have to leave at the top of the hour, so I'm going to let Ryan. I'll carry as much of the conversation I can fill in. But the only question I'm going to ask right now is: at the home base cooking, did you cook oxtail?
Oh yeah.
Ah,
I know, yeah.
so,
all right,
so,
so we gotta
so,
gotta
this is
validate.
so if Ryan doesn't hire you for image or etiquette, you can certainly get him with oxtail.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, quick
Go ahead, Ryan.
question: we, as you mentioned, COVID hit, and we went into this kind of virtual meetings universe. Is it bad etiquette to not be fully dressed and only be dressed from the top up, or should you be fully dressed when you're on Zoom calls?
Well, I usually, it's up to the individual because not everybody is in the market for being fully dressed. So if you're a sports person, then of course you're gonna wear your sweatpants. And even if you're at home, it's your domain. I wouldn't say that you're going out on the street and dress the same because there's a fine line. So for yeah, when you're home, it's okay, and because that's what a lot of people were addressing to during COVID, to dress it up because that's how people could see your face mainly.
Yes,
That's
yes.
important. Yeah.
And I'm curious with so what are some of the, I don't say like red flags, but things that when we come to you for training that this generation or you're seeing a lot of, I won't call it bad behavior, but what are you seeing that we're struggling with when it comes to etiquette and our image and our first impression when people come to you for training?
People want to be confident. People want to have the knowledge of how, because one thing I can relate on, it's our appearance, our first impression. I was training in a drape course, and on my first training, this young man, he came in, he was late, and he appeared as if someone forced him to come, like he didn't want to be there on his own. He came
Yes.
in a baseball cap, sunglasses, a bomber jacket, and a pop can in his hand to class. I okay, invited him to sit. He took a chair and he was still sitting like Mr. Cool with everything on. But by the time he realized what I was talking about, soon the cap came off, the sunglasses was thrown on the table, and the jacket came off, and he pulled up his chair. That guy is a transformed person, because the next day during our dining etiquette class, he said, "Can I wear a suit?" Because
Okay.
when you don't know, you just don't know. And if someone is there to guide you, take the advice, because it's going to make a world of difference. Keep in mind too, the persons who are in the royal family, for instance, they were not born this way. They were the skills that are supposed to help us to be respectful and to open doors for us. We were not born, but the record is there. Information is there from before, that we can adapt, that we can train ourselves and bring to the next generation. And that's what I really, really want to bring to the next generation, to show them how.
And I'm so curious because the gentleman that comes into the class, and when I go to speak at high schools, you see it, and it's like people, you want, like, you can see them trying to fit in, and they have their demeanor. I'm curious if you remember at what point or what you're talking about that helped it click for him, that what, the way I'm acting isn't appropriate. What do you typically cover in that first day that would make a person figure it out?
Thank you. That I can't remember the exact thought I was sharing at the time, but the first day we usually talk about skills for success in the workplace. And for him at his age, he may be looking for, even though he may be a teenager, mid-teens, he may be looking to find a job at some point.
Right.
And what was required? How do you show up? How do you relate to others in the workplace, and even your boss? So I think that was
So
what
true.
he heard, and it pulled him in, and thought, I need to listen. I need to behave myself.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just jumping in for those who are watching this live or watching the replay, we have a picture up here of Lorna's website, looking confident, that picture, and her contact information, website, Instagram, Facebook, and if on most platforms that information is on your platform. Lorna, I have a number of conversation pieces to ask. One of them is, when did you start your business?
I started my business back in October of 2021, just after I finished my training. I thought, because the thing is, I went into training for myself to improve my appearance and my behavior skills. But when I got the information, I thought there is no way I could keep this for myself. I must share it. So once I finished my training, I started an Instagram page right away and just delve into everything.
And maybe I missed this when you were sharing with us, or what made you take that course?
Because I think it was the etiquette. I came with the idea from Jamaica. I've made my decision that once I got to Canada, I was gonna further my training in etiquette. And because I lost my footing at the beginning, even though I had the idea in the back of my mind that somehow, some way, I'm gonna do that, when the time came, because I was doing my job, I think what the reason why my jobs were kind of short-lived, I wasn't in the right place. And the moment I cried out for help, help came.
Okay.
And that opened the door.
Yeah. How much of what you do when you work with your clients is changing mindset?
Everything, every part of it. Because,
Whoa, right.
when someone comes, we talk about the colors. I do color analysis to make sure the colors that you wear are suited to you. I match your eyes, your hair, and your skin tone to make sure whatever you wear, you pop. Because remember when I said, when I walked into that room, I was wearing a cream dress and nobody was excited to see me. But when somebody has walked in their right color, there was a vibrancy in the room at that time. The atmosphere changed. So I give people the confidence to know how you dress the body you have. I do body analysis as well. I do measurements to make sure the clothing you wear is suited to your body and your lifestyle as well.
Wow, my wife is gonna love you. That's the one pet peeve she has, is men wearing over the suits that are too big or untailored suits. So the fact that you add that in, and I didn't even think of that as part of your image, is making sure that you measure yourself properly and get the proper clothes. So I love that you do that. And I'm curious. Oh, sorry, Dr. Vibe, did you have?
No, I just wanted to add in really briefly. It's too bad that Lorna wasn't at the event on this past Saturday, because I'm sure she would have commented on what Dr. George Fraser was wearing. Because here's a man that he's in his either late 70s. He was the best dressed person in the room.
Yes,
beautiful.
Like
beautiful.
when he came when he came down. Yeah, like I'm just going, wow. So here I am in sweatshirt and hoodie. I love sweatshirts and hoodies. And I'm gonna ask Lorna. Here's a question for you, and be honest. And I'm gonna love you regardless. What I was wearing for my sharing session at Whitby.
I think you were wearing a sweatsuit top.
Yeah, but so bad image.
Bad image. Because you know what? Clothes maketh a man. You present yourself the way you want to be addressed. And I tell you, back in 2022, just after COVID was still going, but then the stores were open. So it was International Women's Day. And I thought, I need to go out. I need to go downtown. I went downtown and went to Eaton Center. And, there was a lot of high-end stores that are there. I went to one of them, and the owner, she stood in the doorway. She looked me over first from my head all the way down before she stepped aside and said, "Come on in, welcome. Your clothes is your message. No matter who you are."
That's interesting. That's interesting because it's interesting. My major mentor, he'll host events, and these are with big people. He'll wear casual pants, hoodie, and a jacket. He gets paid $35,000 to show up for that.
Because people know him. People know him because if he shows up, say for instance, you are a doctor and you're in your doctor white coat and your stethoscope, and someone else out there is wearing a tracksuit, and you go to someone and say, "I'm a doctor, I can help you." Who are they going to trust?
Okay, so here's another question going on, especially with imaging. How important is knowing your audience?
Very much.
Okay.
Very much. Very much. Because if they know this gentleman and they have been following him for a while, they know him. So they're going to be comfortable with him. But then for someone who doesn't have any idea, he's selling his services, he's selling himself. So it's important to show up.
Interesting. I know some people that would push back a little bit because it's more what they're sharing and their knowledge than what they're wearing, but everyone has their own take. But it's interesting. And we got some comments here. Fitness IQ Can says it depends on the culture. Eunice Graham says, "Thank you. Good morning, as always, Eunice, for your support as always. Our young people are still wearing their pants waist at their knees. Need to hear this. This message. Absolutely, that true. That true. Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, and that leads me to my next question, where I'm curious what you like about working with adults, and I'm curious what you like about working with kids. So, can we start with the adult side?
Okay, because adults have the opportunity to grow. We're all still growing. And it opens door because, for instance, you're an adult and you're seeking employment, you're seeking promotion. There can be barriers. We can be sabotaging our own growth. Remember Undercover Boss?
Yes.
On TV? And this man would show up as a cleaner. We never know who you're gonna meet.
Right.
So it's always to be kind. To treat each person with respect, because the persons who took the time to be respectful and to be a friend to this undercover boss, they were the ones who were the winners in the end.
Absolutely.
And that's what I always train my students. Be careful.
Yeah, and I'm curious the dynamic with younger students. What do you like about that?
Because they have they have years ahead of them to grow and to impact their culture, their own colleagues,
right?
Because each one will teach one. It's like a replica, and you have a leader, and someone will say, "Why? And once they see an example in their own culture, because even somebody mentioned about the youth wearing their pants down, somebody started that. And if somebody had said, let's carry it this way, let's do this from a young perspective, the generation will see, and they manipulate, they will follow.
Right, right.
I just want to do some shout outs here. Internationally, Laura Lala Key. Good morning, family. Such a wonderful topic. And she is one half of Primetime Saturdays with Aisha and Lala that you catch live on 7 p.m. on multiple platforms that I'm on. Good morning. Good morning, Lala. And also, she says, I am so grateful my mother taught me to never judge people by what they do or how they dress. She always had a she said, hidden angels are everywhere.
Yeah, I like that.
Very, very nice. Lorna, how much has the pandemic had impacts from your lens on image and etiquette?
A big part, because there were times when cultures in the workplaces would have a dress code, and you must be adhering to that. I think COVID threw a lot of it out the door, and people got so comfortable in being at home and just hiding half of us. Before, it was never like that. COVID was a game changer for a lot of us. So what do we take from that? People are going back into work. People are being encouraged. I was speaking to a gentleman last week that he said the culture in their work was always fully dressed with their suit and tie based on the industry that they were in. And he was surprised that he went to a conference in Texas recently, and that was not so anymore. People were in t-shirts, and he said, "What happened?"
Whoa, right.
COVID.
Total shift.
So let me ask, are you seeing shifts? Well, I guess two-part conversation. Let me roll back. How do you keep up to date in the areas of etiquette and image? What do you do to keep up to date to make sure that you're aligning with your clients?
For me, it was transformative at the beginning. Once I learned how, I maintain that, because image is not an occasion, it is a lifestyle. And because I was laughed at, because I saw how somebody appeared and it was well received,
Right.
I maintain that. My image is my business. I stay on brand wherever I go. I don't let that slip me, because before I didn't know. And once I know, I keep it and be able to encourage others to do the same.
Absolutely. And one thing that when Dr. Vibe mentioned that you should be at the symposium, I'm thinking we should have an info session before the symposium or before big events. So when you do these classes, and we'd love to bring you in to do like a group class, preparing for an event, what do you typically like? What tips would you give to a person about to go to a networking event or a fancy dinner to get prepared for those types of settings?
Yes, like cut your hair, wash your hair.
You see how I got my hair cut in time for this? Thank you, Lorna.
You prepare for her, eh? You prepare for her? What? Wow.
Press my shirt, everything. Make sure.
Make sure there aren't any stains, any buttons missing, any loose thread. So all of those things are taken into consideration.
Right.
I think another, and talking about organizations, and people think more of image and etiquette just on behavior, but it's also an attitude. And and I always keep a book near to me. A little while back, was Ryan at this? I don't know if he was at this, but I went. No, he wasn't. I was at an event, and there was a wonderful Black lady named Marilyn Gist, and
I was there at the CEO Global.
Yes, and she talked all about leaders, and she said that if you're a leader, whether it's at home, in the workplace, everyone should be treated with the same amount of dignity.
Yes.
That's part of etiquette. Is it not?
It is so. It is so.
So I think too many people think image and etiquette is just a visual thing. It's more than that. Oh, so we got more, and I did put up. I sent your quote to all the platforms that image is not an occasion, it is a lifestyle. That's a knowledge bomb. Man, that's a knowledge bomb. That's a knowledge.
I love that.
Hayden, good morning. Hayden says, please speak on the relationship between etiquette, occasion, and environment. Whoa, love
Okay.
that question. And I know, Ryan, you may have to leave in a few moments. So if you have to jump off, you can jump off now, or you can wait till this is
Well, I'd like to hear this, and then I'll exit.
Go ahead.
So, in speaking on the etiquette is also our interpersonal skills, as we have been talking about, and our appearance, how we appear in public. But then, how do we dine? Our dining etiquette. You will go to these elegant and these dining affairs, and we're stumbling over. We do not know how to sit properly, how to navigate the dining table successfully, how you enter a room, how you leave a room. All of those are taken into perspective. You're going to elaborate affairs. How you present is always in the know, and this is why I give people the overall confidence, because when I train, you're being transformed. I hosted a tea party, and usually tea party is usually considered only for women. We included men at this time because we had a panel discussion, and the men were in it because when you talk about being socially responsible, the men sometimes don't even know they could hold the door for a woman, hold the chair for her. Okay. And that's what we wanted to bring. A young lady, she was 17 at the end. She said, thank you so much, because she was always invited to tea parties, but didn't know how and what was expected. Because a lot of people would go to tea parties these days. It's like the buzzword. You go and you eat and you're drinking tea, and that's fine. But how do you relate? How do you pass your food? How do you share food at the table? The conversations at the table as well. And she said, thank you, because now I know how and I can relate. I can accept these invitations going forward. So the whole thing is transformative.
Yes, and I really appreciate these nuggets. And we'll be definitely following up so that we can get our entrepreneurs on the right track with their etiquette and their image. I do have to jump out, but it's
Take
great
care,
seeing
Ryan.
you. We'll talk
Thank
well.
you, Brian. Thank you,
All right.
Ryan.
Good
My
stuff.
pleasure.
So we'll continue on the conversation
Yes.
with everyone. And thanks for all the people. Keep the comments coming. Big time. Lorna is dropping some serious knowledge bombs here. I have a conversation piece. I have many in my alleged mind today, as always. Do you ever get approached by businesses about image and etiquette? Because I see there is a void, because too many times people think about image and etiquette themselves as a brand. But what about business? Because I'm sure many of us on this conversation, either live on the replay, we go into an organization or business and go, whoa. They're because again, people are visual.
That's true.
They see
Not as yet.
Not as yet.
Yes, because I'm still growing. I'm still just I'm just into my third year of business. So getting the information out, and the more people who are aware that my services are available, they're tapping in. I was at an information, a women's symposium last week Thursday. Last week Friday at the Board of Trade held at Deer Creek, and I was approached. I'm gonna say right now, I was approached by someone in local government, and yes, so it's the awareness, because the more I go out, the more I share my story, the more I tell people what I do and who I am, they're interested, and it's just bring awareness all across the board that we can help.
What's the biggest challenge you face with what you do?
I think time and finances, because it has to be an investment in yourself, and be willing to take the information and go with it. Because sometimes people will say, oh, this is my favorite color. I've been wearing this color all my life. But what if that color is not in your palette? And you have to make a switch? Then it doesn't make sense. You invest and then you're still going back to the old ways. It's supposed to be transformative and help you going forward.
What percentage of your clientele is male versus female?
Oh my gosh. Majority are female. Men would have called and yes, I'm interested. I want to come. Say maybe like 10% of men. And I'm yet to see them come forward and said, yes, I want to be your client. sign me up today.
What would it mean for you if you bump that up to 25% men?
Oh, well, man, let's talk. You have my contact. Listen, I'm willing and available.
Okay. I like that. I like that. I like that. Hey, family, keep the comments coming. I don't want to be driving this conversation, but I got a number of different conversation pieces out there. I want to go back to when you started. Do you remember your first client? You don't have to give the name, but how did that happen if you remember?
Oh my, yes, of course. I just placed I just signed up for Google. And this lady, she wrote to me because I started my business in October of 2021. And would you believe it, 2022, I got my first message and I couldn't believe it. I'm thinking, how did you hear about me? Who told you about me? And she said, I just Googled image consultant and there you were. And I'm thinking, amazing. Thank you.
So, and you remember the person's name?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. Do you keep in touch with them?
Yes, I do.
Good. Good. Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. What are you seeing future trends in your industry? What are you seeing as future trends?
I think the awareness. Once people get the awareness, it's going to change how we do things, how we treat each other. Because these young people, I've had the opportunity to be training in the drape STEM, and it's just bringing a whole new world, a whole new perspective. This young man, he's a university student. And he wouldn't leave, even though he had a class. He said, I want to stay a little longer. I don't mind arriving a little later for my class, but I want this information. And he stayed. And he said, thank you so much. So when you're transforming lives and giving people the information that is needed, they're taking it, because people will continue to behave a certain way because nobody took the time to train them.
Nice.
When you take the time and educate and show them a better way, it's transformative.
Good stuff. Laura Key says the power of Google.
Yes.
The power of Google. As the business workplace changes, how are you changing with your business?
I'm putting more word out there. I want to go into workplaces because I have so much more. Because just last year, I became a certified workplace practitioner, which helps me with my role. This is a service that is provided by Government of Canada and in association with Workplace Education Manitoba to train on relational skills. Because what the government is saying that since COVID, the workforce has become a lot younger. And even though they possess the technical skills, they're lacking in the social skills. So with me, with image and etiquette, I bring so much more with the relational skills to train and educate.
I'm going to give you a term that I think you will like. Social insecurity.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're changing that. We're changing that.
Social insecurity, big time.
Yes.
Lorna, let me ask you something. When you look back at your journey, what would Lorna say to their younger Lorna?
I wish I knew this before. I wish I had started when I first arrived, because I make mistakes. I made a lot of stumbling myself, and I wish I had started. I wish I had pursued earnestly when I came with that idea, because I came into Canada in order to pursue my training in etiquette, and I let things fall behind. But I'm grateful, I'm thankful to God that He allowed me to pick myself up, to see the delay that I've cost myself, and to move forward, because once there's life, there is still hope. Thank you.
Well said. Well said. So let's see. Can you share some general tips for men and maybe women, because they may be different?
Yes.
When it comes to some basics, when it comes to image and etiquette.
So for men, I would say tuck your shirt in.
Okay, so let's stop right there. Now we're in the era of guys wearing their shirt out.
Out, but sometimes it can be even nicer. It can be nicer depending on what you, because if it's a sweatpants, then it's out. But if you're wearing a belt and a pants with loops, then it communicates that the shirt should be tucked in to make it. And yeah, because once you go out and you're present, as I said, the clothes maketh a man. It's who you're gonna be meeting. We never know, because it does
I'm
open
going to
doors.
interrupt there. I want our audience to be interactive on this. Do clothes make a person in your mind? I really would like to get whether you're watching live or in the replay. I'm curious. I want the morning show family. How important is clothes? No, I'm not saying good or bad. I just would like to get their pulse. So sorry to interrupt. Continue on.
That's okay. That's okay. And just to make sure everything is intact, like the rips, the buttons missing, stains. Sometimes we may tend to overlook, but what is the onlooker seeing? If you're going for an interview and there is a big stain or mark on your clothes, always check yourself in the mirror before you leave home. Check your shoes. Are my shoes clean? Get them polished. I know in downtown Toronto and the underground, there are little stalls for men who offer this service to clean your shoes. I know in winter we would wear our boots outside and then change our regular working shoes when we get to the office. But always check yourselves. Your purses, make sure your purse is not overly stuffed and is open, because it's speaking volume of who you are, how elegant you are. Everything should be tucked in. If it has a zipper, close your zipper. Sometimes it happens to me. I'm in the grocery store and I would pick something out of my purse, but it's left open. Pull it up, because you never know who's around you. And yeah, for your facial hairs, make sure those are taken care of. Your, look in the mirror.
Okay, so interesting point, and there's some comments coming in, family. So I'll get to a minute. What about men? Beards are a big thing, especially with Black or African men. What about the caring of their beards?
Groomed, well groomed. Is it well groomed? Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So we look
what about the ladies?
The ladies, the facial hairs, and if you're wearing makeup or not, make sure everything is smoothed over and you're looking well put together and professional. It doesn't have to be a lot of makeup that is out of place, but a little lipstick, a little lip gloss, it goes a long way. Your glasses are clean. I remember I had a client once, and she said for years she was going and speaking, but she never realized that her glasses were fuzzy until somebody pointed out to her and said, you need to go and clean your glasses. And she said, oh, she was so embarrassed, because to her, as long as she could see through the lens, but she didn't know that they were fuzzy. And until somebody pointed out to her, and now she makes sure that they are clean. So little things like that, or nails.
Oh boy.
Well groomed, clean.
Okay. Also, maybe what do you think of this suggestion? If you're with a partner, if you're going to an event and you're going on your own, have them take a look at you. Because a lot of times you see yourself in one way, someone else may see something else.
Thank you. I love my husband. He always looks at me and said, okay, I think you need to do this. And we make suggestions. We're there to help each other, not to compete or to put down.
Okay, so let's get when I asked for feedback, we've got it going on now. So Hayden, I'll get to your question in just a moment. Okay, so Fitness IQ came in response about the clothes, how important clothes, it depends. Hayden says sometimes it's the man that makes the clothes. JJ Mars says professional attire is a must. Laura says it depends on the situation. I try to look good at the gym. No ripped shirts or pants or nasty stained items. But you can be well dressed and have a nasty spirit, and that comes through.
Ooh,
there you go.
Well, that's our etiquette, you see?
There you go. As a 23-year-old from this new generation, I will say as fashion goes, we're told, at least I am, only to tuck in when we're going somewhere that will affect our career. If not, I make the tuck look, doesn't go with the tuck in look. That's what he's been told. Like,
Mm.
okay, like he goes like an accent makes you look put together, but busy as well. As why it's untucked. Image. I need some clarity on that message, but no problem. But question here, Hayden, please speak on the relation between. Oh, no, sorry, wrong question. How do you prepare for an event that you know very little about?
It's always to go higher. You can always dress up. And once you get there, you can always remove something rather than appearing and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I wish I had known better. So it's always best to go higher, to dress for the occasion or go higher than the occasion, and then to remove to make yourself more in line with the occasion.
Yeah, I'll add on to that. I think if it's a professional event, you can, if you want, call the person who's organizing and saying who's going to be showing up, what type of crowd.
True. That's true.
And I will piggyback, though I didn't do it for the Whitby event because I just was being myself. Always be a level above the situation that you're in. That's at least for etiquette. Dress is a whole different thing, but always stay a little bit a level above the environment that you're in.
That's
especially
true.
in communications.
Yes.
Anything else I'm going to ask a favor from you.
Yes, sir.
Would you be able, call me Dr. Vibe, I'm no old man yet, but I know that's etiquette. I get you. If you would be able to put some tips for men and women when it comes to etiquette, and I could share it to our Discord group, and I would put your contact information if they want to find out anything further. Would you be available to do that?
Sure, I'd be more than happy.
All right. So that's another reason to join the Discord group, family, because like I said, you can go back and rewind and watch the replay, or you'll get the bullet points written by the content creator right up front. Do you also provide clothes consulting?
I certainly do. I do personal shopping. I do wardrobe maintenance. I would come to your home, see what you have in your wardrobe, and how we can shop from your own closet and what we need to
dash.
Okay.
I know you're gonna say it, but I'll say you're gonna how you dash what you got. Do that purge.
Sometimes it's hard, but it'll be helpful.
Excellent. So what are some I think you mentioned some of the faux pas. Are there any other faux pas you see, common faux pas when it comes to image and etiquette these days, regardless of age?
Or elbows on the table. People picking their teeth at the table. Yeah. Drinking from a water bottle at the table. I'm thinking, no way. You always pour into a cup, a glass, and drink.
You hearing some of these comments, family? That's interesting. And I think, well, first of all, plastic water bottles aren't good for you. Water in plastic is not good. That from the first place, it's not good.
There you go. Because
the plastic, especially if it's over a period, the plastic seeps into the water.
Wow.
And the plastic has chemicals in it. Not going to go any further. I'll wait for Kelly Nicole when she comes on for her monthly nutritional. Well, I'm going to bring that up with her and tell people. So try to avoid. There's a reason why it sells so cheaply at the store, because it's cheap, and you don't know how long the water's been sitting there.
It's been sitting there. It's true.
And that plastic seeping in. JG Mars, hello in Colorado. I always got to ask what the weather's like in Colorado today. It says professional attire and dress is a must.
Thank you.
Okay. Eunice, you put down something, and I don't know, you just put one letter down on your comment, so I'm going to wait for you to finish your comment. I think you're going to say something about the water. So what's next for Lorna Inspires?
Lorna Inspires is growing. I'm into a magnificent group, and I'm growing across borders right now because different social media platforms. And when I meet people, their eyes are being opened, they're being made aware, and people are thinking, okay, so I'm going across borders, I'm growing more. So yeah, so thank you.
what's the definition of success when you're working with a client?
To see the transformation, to see the change, the before and after, and to see what is possible.
So Eunice goes walking around with a toothpick in your mouth. OMG. Do you want to respond to that? Maybe in Kingston or Montego Bay. I don't know.
No, Eunice.
She's probably seeing it. She's agreeing with it. It's not good etiquette or image.
That's right.
But it just came to my alleged mind. Young people, when their concept of image and etiquette, are you hopeful that as they go along in their journey called life, it will shift with them? You already had that example of that gem. Are you confident or hopeful that it will?
Yes, I think if once we get this into the school and are training our students at an early age, big difference, because there was someone that I was speaking with, and he was saying, when I was in school at this age, this is how we were taught. It was a subject.
Oh,
it wasn't an option. It was a must, just like
mandatory.
Yeah, it was mandatory. So if we can get these information in our classrooms from an early age, it's transformative. We're changing the world one by one.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's good. All right, I know you've got imaging and etiquetting to do, so I don't want to keep you any longer than we need to or have to. So do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share with our family?
I remembered one of my jobs. Manpower had sent me on an assignment years ago, and when I got there, they wanted me to do some filing. The room had a lot of documents on the desk, on the floor, on chairs, in cabinets that needed to be sorted and filed. And I got there and I worked one day at a time, and I finished it. And when they saw how I was working and my work attitude was good, they offered me a permanent position. And this was after I had finished college. But while I was there, somebody didn't like me. And I think it was, I had started in the September of one year, and it rolled over until December. I was still there, and the general manager said to me, I will see you in January. So I thought, okay, I'm coming back to work. But by later that month, I didn't feel comfortable. One morning, because I always arrived on time, and one morning I was getting ready for work and I just didn't feel like going to work. And I'm wondering, what is this? I dropped my son off at school, and because the other one had taken the school bus, and I thought, I arrived late. But when I arrived at work, there was a police cruiser in the parking lot, and the place was hushed. There was a quietness. There was no movement. And I was wondering, what's going on here? I went in, and as soon as I stepped in, I got to my desk. The lady beside me said, the general manager or the supervisor wants to see you in his office. And I thought, okay. So I placed my handbag and my lunch bag on my desk, walked over, and there was a stillness. Nothing was happening. There was no activity. It's like everyone was on edge. And I got there, and he and another supervisor were there waiting for me. A police officer, they had employed somebody to arrest me in case I wanted to fight, me, a Black woman, to fight for our factory work. I went in his office and he told me, we're going to let you go. And I'm thinking, why? I didn't do anything. You invited me to come back. You told Manpower you're going to take me on permanently, but somebody didn't like me. Someone in management didn't like me. And when we got into the office, we started to talk. I started to share how I came from Jamaica and where I am today. I went back to school. And before you know it, there was a lively conversation going on. We were laughing. We were comfortable with each other. And he said, when you leave, I want to be one of your references. Please let me know. And so this woman who didn't like me, she heard the laughter and she came walking by. And you should have seen her face. how come you're laughing and they're firing you? But I just looked at her and we continued our conversation. And the police cruiser was there because I knew right behind the door, he must have been standing right there nearby in case I was out of order or anything to arrest me. I got to my desk and I was crying and everybody was saying bye bye to me. I went to my car and I was bawling like crazy. And I said, Lord, what is this? And in my ears, I heard, don't cry, don't cry. And I said, okay. I just hushed myself and I came home and I told my husband because he was working from home that day. And I said, they fired me. But it didn't allow me to dampen my spirit. It didn't keep me down. I got up. I threw that off. And soon after, I got a full permanent job in Pickering at working with Minax, working out on the Bell Canada 611 line. I stayed there until I went to downtown to Fidelity on Bay Street. But you see, when things come against us, don't allow it to eat your heart. Don't allow it to take you out and hamper your growth. Use it as a stepping stone because that's what I did. I didn't allow a could be or would be attack on my career, on my identity. And today I'm transforming lives because those information I use them to propel me to share it's part of my story right now. And when people can relate how you were mistreated, how you were judged, I just smile because this is where God wants me to be. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here today.
The pleasure is ours on behalf of our family. That what she just shared is a great example of don't let one moment define you. It is a moment. It isn't for you forever. And make your testimony, especially a lot of people here. You're still starting your business. You're still going out there. Your best form of marketing is your story. You have achieved a lot of things.
Thank you.
Use that to your advantage. You're overcoming what you've overcome, what you've achieved. Yes. It doesn't matter. You've achieved things. Share it to the world.
Share
don't rob the world of your gifts. Right? And persistence, perseverance will take you a long way, especially when it's the darkest of times. There is our contact information. I've also shared it on all the platforms. Lorna, thank you so much for taking time in your positive, productive schedule to share with us today. Please stay in touch.
Okay, and, I think the Lorna Inspires. I don't use that anymore. That page is no longer useful to me. I got locked out. So it's Image and Etiquette Consulting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on Instagram, it's Image and Etiquette. My apologies. But the website is correct.
Okay, that's why I put that first, because website is the most important thing. That's your platform. So use the website. Yes. That's why I put it first. Most people go to the first thing, but they're so Instagram savvy. But let's go to the website first. So no problem. Thank you for that update.
You're welcome.
And I think that we have one more. Okay, this is good. All right, so we are done. As always, we finish off. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and remember to give yourselves grace. And please stay in touch.
Thank you.
Great rest of the day. Bye-bye. All right, family, there we go. Oh, Black Canadian content creators. Yes. Who Shirley was at last Saturday's event at the symposium. So yes, broadcasting live on X. Yes, we broadcast on Facebook, myself and ACBN's page on Facebook, my YouTube page, ACBN on Twitch, Dr. Vibe Show on Twitch, Ryan on LinkedIn, and Ryan on Facebook. So we broadcast all over the place. All right, so let's call it up a day. So thank you, family. Those who made it live on the replay, it's appreciated, not taken for granted. Let's get some final things here. All right. You can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and Facebook, Afro-Caribbean Business Network, Facebook and YouTube, and Ryan O'Neill Knight, YouTube and LinkedIn. You can contact Ryan. There's all his contact information also shared in the comments, website, LinkedIn, Instagram, and email. This is where you can get a hold of me, the Dr. Vibe Show, on my website, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, the Dr. Vibe Show. Instagram, at the Dr. Vibe Show, the DRVIBESHOW, X at DRVIBESHOW, and there's the email, DR.VIBE at the DRVIBESHOW.com. That's done. Got a lot of homework, but this is all right. This is all good. This is all good. Still got to put up the quote that Lorna gave. Image is not an occasion. It is a lifestyle. Boom. On that. Boom. So again, just closing off, you follow the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, especially YouTube, and hit the notification button. I'm putting out a lot of YouTube shorts. So check it out. You're seeing highlights of the conversations, and a lot of people are subscribing because of that. Thank you. Also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Advertise on the platform. Email me dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com, and join the Discord group. Email me dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com, and Lorna will share some of her top tips of etiquette and image in there. So maybe a reason you want to join. Just maybe a reason. All right. We are done. We'll be back this Friday with more epic conversations. Laura Key says, great conversation. Thank you. Thank you, Laura Key. You know, actually, something just hit me. Lala, something just, I'm going to reach out to you via Discord and to talk about something. An idea just came into my alleged mind. So let's close it off with this, family. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace, and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. We'll see you on Friday, but during the week, please take care and especially give yourself grace. God bless, peace to well, keep the faith, and walk good.